tonight, Jennifer, with COCA, and so glad you're here to have some fun with Matt and Deanna. And turn on your video so we can see your smiles, please, and get ready to have some fun and get crafty with Matt and Deanna. I'll let you take it away.
Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? Oh, I see all those beautiful faces, and that actually is making me smile as well. I hope y'all can hear me. I'm gonna just lower that music a little bit. Definitely want to keep it playing so we can keep it going. So this is gonna be a lot of fun tonight. We hope folks have the opportunity to possibly get some of those supplies for the project. If not, that's okay. Make sure you still follow along because we want you to be able to do this on your own time, but also with your campers. The idea behind tonight is a fun, interactive way for us to spend the night together, where you can also walk away with a few projects and a few ideas that you can apply to both in-person camp or virtual camp, or even if you're a teacher with your students or your grandchildren or your nieces and nephews or whoever and ever that you'd like to do this with. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm joined today with my BFF, Deanna.
Hi, everyone.
So we hope you're ready for some fun and some arts and crafts. So sit back, enjoy. We have 3 projects planned for you tonight, but we are going to put in the chat a link a bit later on that we're hoping that you all will help us with. It's a link to a Google Drive where we can all drop in different arts and crafts projects that we've done with our campers or with our students, whomever. This way, COCA can start to compile and our members can start to compile a great list of art projects that maybe we haven't thought about before or haven't had the opportunity to do. So we'll put that link in and hopefully y'all will help us fill it with tons of arts and crafts projects. Deanna, do you want to say anything before we
No, I'm just really happy to be here. I'm really excited to do a project with you, and it's given me a great opportunity to do some stuff with my own kids, and I'm just ready to rock and roll and have fun. We started, just to let you know, so Matt was talking about how not only are we having fun, but we're going to share some things that you can do with your kids. And so we decided to start out with, as you guys were coming on, putting some questions in the chat. I found very often during our virtual camp that while we were waiting for all of our friends to show up, it was kind of like nobody was really talking, nobody knew what to do with themselves. So Matt put on some music, and just starting off with some really great questions for people to start getting engaged is a great way to go. So, you know, that's point number 1 for the night, and we can get started with our crafts.
Sweet. So here we go. So the first project we're going to do all, and I apologize. So if you see my name twice, my name was up here 3 times, but I asked Millie to change it to her name. So I have my camera here, so I'm going to demonstrate our first project with y'all. So if you have your supplies to make our tile coasters, that's the one we're going to start with first. Of course, my camera does look a little yellow, but that's because I am sitting directly under my light. So that happens, but it's okay. But nothing we do is pretty much yellow at this point. So we are going to do some great coasters. Here are some samples, and I'll put like one here and one here so you can see some different ideas that we are going to do. These are super easy and honestly super inexpensive if you're working with your campers and your staff. I'll be honest, I'm gonna lift it up and I promise I won't get a hernia, but I love Home Depot. So if anyone is really buying these for a larger project like camp, you can get a box of 100 of these tiles at Home Depot for $8. So it's a big old box for 100. I actually worked with them and I got my first box for free. So, you know, you might want to hit up your local Home Depot and get some tiles. They are heavy though, so don't carry them around that often. So you are going to need some of your supplies. So you need your food coloring out, you need your paper plate, you need your shaving cream, your popsicle stick, if you have it. Now, if you don't have a popsicle stick, you can use anything that will just scrape off the shaving cream. So I can't find my popsicle sticks, which is pretty much hysterical because I have 8 million of them. So I'm actually just using a plastic knife, and I'll use the non-serrated side. I've used straws in the past. You know, get creative with it. It's fun. So one thing I also want to remind y'all is you might want to put something down on your table, since we are going to be working with the food coloring. A paper towel will do. If you're planning for camp, I suggest this on my table. This is, it's helpful when you have 3 dogs. This is a dog pad. It's a wee-wee pad. So when I did this with my campers, I supplied all of them with a wee-wee pad. I just bought them online and put a wee-wee pad in each one of their packages so that it doesn't ruin our family's tables, because we don't want to, you know, we don't want to get in trouble for that. So you might just want to have something down on your table. All right, so we're good. Next thing you need your paper plate. Gonna make it nice and easy. Everybody, show your paper plates. Lift them up if you're doing it. Thank you. Okay. Now, your shaving cream. It honestly does not matter what brand it is. Probably, in all honesty, let's be honest, we're all on a budget. The cheaper, the better. Dollar store works. This was on sale at ShopRite, so I bought it. It was only $1 though. The biggest thing though with shaving cream in doing these tiles, it has to be foam. Okay, it can't be gel. Otherwise, it unfortunately will not work. So you have to have foam. Sorry, just lowering that a little bit more. It has to be a foam shaving cream. Okay, and everyone should have their photo paper as well. Now, the great thing about photo paper, it does not matter, again, the brand, whether it's glossy or flat, it doesn't honestly matter. All photo paper works. I've used it all. You just obviously need photo paper. So the first thing that we're going to do is, in order to get ready, we're going to take our tile and we need to cut our photo paper. That's why I asked you all to have some scissors. And you want to cut your photo paper so that it is the same size, or it could be even a little shorter, it's okay, on your tile. So it needs to be the same size or a little bit shorter than your tile. And little shorter is not a bad thing, because we're gonna, a little space around doesn't hurt. Little space around does not hurt. And I suggest save your extra piece, because we'll dye that too. Okay, so my photo paper is the same size or a little bit shorter, as you can sort of see. Kind of blends in because it's white on white.
Hey Matt, while people are doing that, can you just hold up a sample one more time for me?
Absolutely. So I've done a couple of different ways of doing it. Wow. So this is just one that is your 2-color sample. Okay, I've also done ones that, you know, I got a little creative and cut my paper up.
Wow.
So it's really, the great part of this, and great part of all arts and crafts, use your imaginations, have a lot of fun with it. You know, if you're doing this in person, especially if you have punches, feel free to punch them, okay, and create little designs on it. If you want to round out your edges, you can do that as well. You know, have fun with it. That's the best part of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Here's another one. I just cut it into little squares. You know, but you can go crazy. That's why I love arts and crafts. It's all about your expression and how your kids are doing with it and how they feel about it. All right. So now that we have that cut, we need our shaving cream. So give it a good shake. Now you're going to take your shaving cream and you're just going to put a nice layer. Oops, excuse me. Oh, let's give it another good shake. I use this one a lot. There it goes. Well, you know what? I did use it a lot, but that's why we always come prepared with backup shaving cream. And I'm just going to give a nice coat onto my plate. You don't, you know, you might want to tell your campers, you know, it doesn't need to be that high off your plate. See, it's not that high. because we're definitely not using shaving cream in anyone's faces. This is an art project. So you just want to have a nice layer of shaving cream on your plate. All right, now the fun part. So now I got these at ShopRite. They're food coloring, your basic 4 colors. Amazon has ones that come in the droppers, and you can get tons of odd different colors, ones that, you know, that are not necessarily primary. So you can have a lot of fun with that. You can mix colors if you're that creative. So whatever colors you want to use, just take out. I think tonight I'll use, I'll do a green and blue. So I'm going to take my food coloring, as you can see on the screen, and I'm just going to put some drops throughout my shaving cream. Just a few drops here and there of each color. Now you can use 2 colors, you can use 3 colors, you can use 4. You can leave it as 1, it's all good, whatever you all decide. And here I'm adding my green. It's similar to like when you're doing tie-dye, you kind of want to have a nice coating around, but you're not oversaturating it. I thought I saw a tie-dye shirt, no? So once you have all of that in, whatever colors you decide, you can take your popsicle stick, or in this case, my knife, or a wooden stir or a straw, whatever it is that you want to use. And you just kind of want to mix your colors in. You're not blending them. So you're not really giving it like, it's not cake batter. So we're just giving it a nice little mix together so that those color, whatever colors you put in, we're making sure that they touch. All right. And once you're happy with that, that's why this is a good, quick arts and crafts project as well. Once you're happy with that, you're halfway done. And that's the best part. You're halfway done. Next step, my friends, is grab that photo paper that we cut. And here's the only tricky part. Now, I said it could be glossy, it could be flat, whatever kind of photo paper you want, it's fine. No matter which kind of paper you have, it's going to have a little bit of a shiny side, and typically the side that has the logo of whatever brand you bought. All right, you're going to take the shiny side and place that down in the center of your shaving cream. Okay, and as my friend Peggy, who taught me how to do this, said, now you just have to tappa, tappa, tappa. So now just tap your photo paper in there so that the whole piece gets in that shaving cream mixture. Okay. I feel like I'm at school today. Nobody's talking to me. Just saying. Everybody's on mute. Y'all can unmute yourselves and talk. It's all good. You're not getting detention if you don't talk.
Matthew, how come we choose the same colors?
Great minds think alike, Mel. That's how we do.
That is so funny.
So now again, you can look at this. So that's perfect. So you're not pushing this. You don't have to push your photo paper all the way to the bottom of the plate because your color is right on top. So again, you can use your fork or popsicle stick, whatever it is, to scoop out your photo paper. Now, when you peel it off, it's going to have all of that. Let's get it in there again. It's going to have all of that shaving cream and food coloring on it, which is fine. That's the best part. I love art that's messy. I really do. Take your popsicle stick, or in my case, my plastic knife, and all you need to do now is just wipe off all the excess shaving cream. Get all that shaving cream off. Now, an added bonus, if you have your placemat down on the table and it's a wee-wee pad or it's a paper towel, the color's not going to go anywhere. You can put it right on your table and just wipe that off. Get all that color. I just put my camera right in my shaving cream. Just wipe it off. It's all good because the color is not going to go anywhere. It's going to stay on.
Okay. So it like stained where it first hit?
Yep.
So when
got
you were scraping it with a knife, if the kids are scraping it, it's not going to color the whole rest of the sheet.
Nope. You're legitimately just taking the excess shaving cream off. The color
Very
has,
cool.
has dyed, the food coloring has actually dyed your photo paper.
Wow.
All right. And you know, it's easy enough. Like if you wanted to even grab a paper towel, if it's easier for the kids, you can grab a paper towel and just wipe your edges to get that shaving cream off. Because it's not going anywhere. It's already dry.
Here we go.
So you don't have to worry about that color coming off at all. It's on there. It's on there for good.
Just need another, whoops.
Okay.
I totally should have won my.
I'll hold it up here so y'all
Very
can see
cool.
that.
Take this away, just put this
I
down.
have these all over my house. I'm not gonna lie. They're pretty much in every single room because I like to make my own coasters, as you can see.
Matt, let me ask you a question. Is
Please.
there, if water gets on that, like, do you have to seal that in with like a spray or a Mod Podge or something?
Nice thinking. We are going to seal it in, and we're going to seal it in once it's on our tile. Okay, folks. So the nice part is, so if you did one, you know, we can put it off to the side. You have extra shaving cream. You can always do more than one, especially if you're doing these with your campers and you're putting this in part of your camp in a box. You might want to put a few different tiles in there. If you're running a family program, you know, you want to make sure maybe you have, you know, 4 or 6. It all depends. Again, go for the sales, look for the cheapy ones. That's what I like to do.
Matt,
Yes, hon.
I couldn't get the tile, so this is what I bought, and I guess it'll work.
It'll work on the canvas.
Stones.
Yep, it'll absolutely work. And the good part is, and the thing you have to also remember, and this is why I asked, I also put on the supply list some cork, because the idea is if you are going to use this as a tile in your home, or we're expecting our campers to use these tiles in their home, they want to make sure you have a backing on it so that it doesn't scratch up the parents' furniture or the family's furniture. All right, so this piece, it already came pre-shaped. You can buy on Amazon for, it's super cheap, to be honest, or you could go to the dollar store. They have the big sheets that you can just trim to size. You can honestly, I've used in the past those furniture movers, you know, that go on the bottoms of dining room chairs. They work too. Anything though that you want to make sure you have something, you provide something that'll protect the furniture later on. Because you know, we don't like to get those phone calls after camp and say, you did a wonderful art project, except it just scratched my dining room table. We don't want that. So you want to make sure you have some cork. All right. I do want to show you what to do next. And I know you guys want to keep on with the craft, which is awesome. But I want to make sure that you know how to finish everything off. So I'm just going to slide my shaving cream to the side because I'm going to have to make another one later. It's just what I do.
I have to do more later.
So I have my tile, and all I need to do is, honestly, it's super easy. And this is exactly what Deanna said about before. We need to make sure that, one, our photo paper is going to stick to our tile. And two, if we actually want to put a drink, a beverage, perfect, on the tile, we want to make sure that it is safe, and that if your glass or whatever it is sweats because of condensation, that it's not going to ruin your tile. And if we seal it, we're good to go. So I use Mod Podge, and again, you can use the matte finish, the glossy finish. It's totally up to you. It's your project. So if you like it a little shinier, use the glossy. If you're good just the way it is, use the matte. It's all good. So the big thing is when you're doing Mod Podge and these tiles, you want to Mod Podge the tile first. You want to get that coating underneath. And of course, I did a poor example. I just poured the whole thing out, but it's okay because I'm going to use it all anyway. So I'm going to just put a nice coating of the Mod Podge on the tile. Okay, yep. Make sure you get all of your corners and edges. And then all you're going to do is you're going to take your photo paper that you just dyed. And now again, if you want to cut this into shapes, you can do that now before you glue it on. If you just like it the way it is, leave it the way it is. Place it on top of your tile. And again, it's dry already, so don't worry about touching it. It's all good. And then you're going to take more Mod Podge and you're going to seal it. All right. Again, you have to make sure you get all those edges. Because if we don't get the edges, that's how the condensation then will get underneath your photo paper. And since we don't want that, we just have to make sure we get all of our edges. All righty. Does anybody have any other questions as we're doing this? Is this something you think y'all can do with your kids?
Well, I have a couple of questions on that.
Hit
If
it,
we're
Brooke.
doing our, if I may,
Yeah.
so we're doing our virtual camp and we have, well, I think we had like almost 100 campers or
Mhm.
80 or something last year. So we would need to buy a bottle of Mod Podge, put it in their camp bag. And I don't know, like, I'm guessing you can buy that in bulk somewhere.
Yep.
But your photo paper, what, like, is that a special kind? Like how?
Yeah. Your photo paper, in all honesty, I would, on Amazon, they have Amazon brand photo paper, whatever their brand is. It's like whatever
Okay.
their highlighted choices. You can get a box of 100 sheets, that 8.5 by 11. And if you're sending, say, 2 tiles per kid, you only need to send them 1 sheet.
Okay.
In their box. What we did was I just did this project with Camp Magical Moments, their winter camp, and we sent everybody 2 tiles. We took one of those 8.5 by 11 sheets. We cut it in half just so that it would also fit in the Ziploc bag we were sending. And that's how we provided it for them. We wrapped obviously you have to wrap the tile in either bubble wrap or some, good paper so that they don't break. But yeah, Dollar Tree carries tons of photo paper, Amazon. I'm all about the sales. So wherever you can get the cheapest, do it. And that's the best part of this project. I've used, like currently the photo paper I used was, it's over here, I'm sorry, was Epson. And that's just because that's what I had left in the house.
And it's just called photo paper.
It's just photo paper, yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing really special. I've used matte finish. I've used the glossy finish.
Which do you prefer?
Glossy gives it a nice little shine to it. So
I think the kids would probably like shiny.
Yeah, I've used glossy more than the other, but I have used both. The best thing is, in reality, with a project like this, it's not very costly. In the long run. It's a little time consuming, especially if you're going to be sending it, because you want to make sure, you wrap your tiles, if you want to cut your paper ahead of time, those kind of things. But if you're, other than that,
I'm just a little nervous on the Mod Podge because I know that stuff is pricey. So I'm trying to think of.
You can get the knockoff. Feel free to get the knockoff too. But yeah. Amazon does have it in bulk. There are a couple of, actually, I can put some links in the chat too. There are a couple of teacher websites that give you some bulk discounts.
Okay.
Wait, Matt, I'll tell you that there's like a poor man's Mod Podge, right? So it won't shine as much. It won't have as much luster when you're done, but you could actually just mix Elmer's glue and water. And it can have the same effect, but like it will function the same way. It will keep everything together. It will form something thick. It just won't be as shiny as Mod Podge is.
But it seals it?
But
it does.
Oh.
We also sent out some Mod Podge bottles this past summer, and we found they make really small, like 2-ounce ones that when you bought them in bulk were only like 59 cents.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you,
and we
everybody.
found that was enough for the project that we needed them for.
That's great. Thank you.
And yeah, and we supplied, when we do this project with the kids, when we sent out their Camp in a Box and we did this entire project, we supplied them with pretty much everything, even the paper plate.
That's what we did.
Just because it's just easier, 2 paper towels thrown in just as an extra. The more you can supply them, obviously, the better, that. But the shaving cream, again, I found the shaving cream was super cheap. It was like 69 cents or something like to that effect. Because again, you don't need a giant, like this is, you know, this is a much bigger bottle than what you'll actually need if you're doing this as one person. You know, this one is obviously smaller. They have even the smaller ones, but you know, obviously you just be as cost effective as you can. But this is a great opportunity because, you know, you have those conversations with the kids as you're doing it. You know, what are you, you know, just talk about whatever is your favorite music. What's your favorite song? Let's actually do that too. Maybe we should do that. If everyone has a second, in the chat box, just put your favorite song. Whatever it is, just fill us in. Let us know what your favorite song is.
That does the the travel sizes of the shaving cream, is that enough? Like
That'll get you that'll probably get you at least 2.
Oh, okay.
It'll get you at least 2 tiles, because the thing is, you're not using a tremendous amount of the shaving cream. If you want the kids to do more than like the one color, like if you want to now give them a second plate and do, you'll probably need a little bit more than the travel size. But I mean, I still have tons of shaving cream left on my plate.
Okay.
So I could probably make at least 2 or 3 more tiles just with what I've used. I just can't obviously switch colors.
Right.
But you could add a color, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you just give it another little twirl so that the colors blend together without mixing. All right. So again, you're going to have more time to work on this project after our night, but to be honest, it's beautiful. Look at that. You all did a great job. If you're finished and you have it, can you all hold it up for me? And if you're not, that's okay. I'm just going to make you do it later because that's how we do. I love those colors, Kristen. Look at you, Mel. Look at her. She's flying over there.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you guys. Thank y'all.
Is this going to be my job now for camp, Matt?
Yeah, be ready, please. Your session's already locked up. Listen, you should send me a picture. I know how many paper plates you have. You have enough paper plates for the entire camp.
I have enough of everything. I have too much Podge because I was afraid it wasn't enough. Did you really get too much?
You're too funny. Too funny. All right. So if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat as far as this craft is concerned. And we're going to keep on going because we want to make sure we get through a lot of crafts for y'all to
Don't
go
stop
home.
believing. Oh, that's Dr. Mike's song.
All right.
Hey,
So-
Matt,
Yes, ma'am.
not specifically a question about the project, which I love because we did just regular marbling paper and it was like, well, then what are they supposed to do with it? So I love that. What was the second camera you were using? Because we really struggled with some of our art projects to be able to, because we didn't want to keep moving our computer screen up and down, trying to show hands and stomachs and stuff. What are you using?
I'm actually using, it's a document camera that I use for teaching.
Okay.
I bought it on Amazon. Surprise, surprise. I basically have stock in it. I wish I did. But luckily I always use Amazon Smile, so I get the money back anyway. But the brand is called it's Kodak New Scan is the camera I use.
Okay.
The thing with this one though, you just have to be very careful because I did some research on them. It will work with a Mac, but it's not going to work to its full potential with a Mac. There's some limitations in the software. So it works much better on a non-Mac, you know, whatever you have. Because right now I'm using it on my tablet, so my Surface.
This past summer, while we were doing live sessions and we wanted to kind of have a double screen, we had the luxury of being able to have another person with us, socially distanced, of course, but we actually had them using a camera facing us so they could get the entire scope of what we were doing while we were able to see all of the kids on a separate computer screen. And it was very, very helpful for us. I don't know if you have the luxury of doing that, but if you can have a second camera that would, and a person managing it, that would be great.
And then again, just as a quick reminder before I turn it over, just don't forget that at the end, once everything is dry, you want to put your cork on the back so that it doesn't scratch your furniture. All right.
Matt, how do you attach that cork on the back?
Most of the cork that you can buy, especially from the dollar store or Amazon, it's sticky back.
Okay.
So in all honesty, you just peel it. Amazon also does sell large quantities already cut, believe it or not, already cut to the size of the tile, and it's sticky back. So it's just peel and stick.
Yay! That was so good.
It's so much fun. I mean,
I liked it. All ages too.
yeah, we've done it with as youngest as 4, and I mean, I'm 42 and I still do it. So I wasn't gonna rat chat on your age, Millie, but you know.
It's also a really
it's for all
nice
ages.
and useful thing, but it's very quick. No pressure for time during an arts and crafts class. It's perfect.
Yep. And easy cleanup, because if you use like I said, if you're using like a wee-wee pad or the dog pads, literally just fold it up and throw the whole thing in the garbage. Easy cleanup.
Most of them will be like covered though.
Oh, I'm totally covered, but
Yeah.
it's food coloring, it'll wash off. You can also supply a set of gloves if you'd like. I don't
That would be a cute picture though. Everybody
I don't
put your
mind.
hands up.
know. All right, Miss Deanna. I'm so ready for this one.
Okay, so we're gonna shift over a little bit, and first I want to. Matt had asked everybody to put their favorite song in the chat, and what it's just another layer of programming while your kids are in the middle of doing a project. Some of them get done quicker, some of them take a lot longer time, and so we don't want to have any dead space. So constantly adding things into the chat is really helpful. And one of the things that we did this summer, particularly with our teens, was we would always tell them to put their favorite songs in the chat, and then what we did was we created playlists for them. And so when they came on to the next call, we were able to play their playlist for them that they created themselves. And then by the end of the summer, it was like playlist 1, playlist 2, which one? And then we were able to send them all the playlists. So it was a summer memory, a virtual summer memory, and that they chose themselves. And it certainly filled their time when, you know, they weren't interested in the conversation or the project that we were doing, but it gave them something else to do. So, you know, trying to appeal to all of the masses. So keep your songs coming. Rich, unless you're going to record This Is Pepe for us, I don't know how to do that, but I'm writing them all down. We're hoping we could generate a playlist from tonight. My project, I called it A Reflection of Yourself. As we know, in art, you can modify it for any age, but I'm going to focus on the teens. And this project can be quick. It will not be as quick as Matt's project, so I don't even think that we're going to be able to finish it tonight. So I have a couple of variations for you. This is a collage project. The materials it's really artist choice, right? So I said a locker mirror, a frame, a box, anything that you can decoupage on or anything that you can collage on would be great. So whatever you choose to do, I've actually done it with teens on tiles and they loved it. This is something that can, if they really put thought into it and they're really enjoying what they're doing, it's a great time for the kids to focus on what they're doing, but also have wonderful conversation while they're doing it. And so we want the kids to go through magazines. I'd like you to go through magazines and really cut out things that you think that reflect who you are. And we're focusing all on positivity and positive affirmations. And so, you know, I don't know if any of you have your magazines with you, if you plan on cutting anything out. I've pre-cut certain words here, not all of them, because there's more to do. And what I also found is that as I was going through these magazines, I started reading the articles. So it took me a little bit longer to, that's great, superheroes. It took me a little bit longer to, you know, cut through the magazines because I got really enthralled in what was happening with the royal family, you know, some of the tabloids out there. But I found a lot of really great things. And so I'm going to show you a couple of finished products, but then I'm going to go over with you how to do this, because there is a right and wrong way. And when I included my children. I have a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. And my 14-year-old in particular, I said, do you know how to do this? And she said, yes, I do. And I said, how do you know? She said, I live with you. And then she did it and it was totally wrong. And then we had to talk about technique again. But I was actually not thrilled about this because I was hoping for a thicker frame, but the reflection of you piece, I was hoping for a mirror that had a bigger frame, right? So what I did was I took a locker mirror, and I wanted it to have more space, which obviously you can do by adding cardboard behind it, or you could spend a little bit more than $4 and get a nicer framed mirror. But the whole idea is for a child, oh, there you go, to be able to look in this mirror and not only see their own personal reflection, but how they want to reflect themselves to themselves. So I chose things like always looking for the good in people, love, strong, mindfulness. But this one will be a little bit quicker if you're going to use something like a locker mirror, because there's very little space for you to be able to use. But this would be great for a virtual program because this took about 35 minutes, 40 minutes really for me to do. Some of the variations that you can do is if you have a box or you have a frame, and in my material list, I said that paint and paintbrushes were optional. So you can choose to paint some of your space or some of your surface area. So this was my daughter's, my 14-year-old daughter. She didn't want to decoupage anything. She chose to paint a flower on the front, but when you open the box, she had her collage pieces down at the bottom. So this is another variation. It's really, especially when you're working with teens, we want to give them a lot of control over what they're doing. And we want to be able to give them some time because we want them to put thought into what they're doing. So this is a reflection of themselves. The one I will work on with you today, well, for my own purposes, so whichever materials you chose to use is perfectly fine. But then the other variation, and I only did a portion of it because I wanted to do some of the project with you, was I chose a box, and on the inside of this box, I chose a phrase that I would love to read every day. I am all about mantras. I am all about positive affirmations. And every time I open this box, I'm going to see my favorite phrase, which I was inspired this year by a Broadway star who did a workshop with us this summer. And I just have said this to myself a million times since she did this workshop with us. And so I painted it onto the inside of my box. It says, nothing to prove, only to share. And I would like to spend, this time just doing the decoupaging with you. I will use the outside of my box. I'm curious to know what materials you chose today, if you chose a frame or if you chose a mirror, or if you chose a box, or if you didn't choose anything, you want to watch me do it, which is fine also.
I got my box from Walmart, actually, because me, I love to tell you where I bought things because I like to shop. So I got my box at Walmart.
So when I first ordered the box, I was very excited. I found it for very cheap on Amazon. So I sent the link to Matt and I got it 2 days later and I just started texting him, abort mission, don't post it. It showed up it was like this big.
It was so
it didn't look that small on the screen, right? I was like, what a great deal, $2.99, awesome. So beware that when you're ordering in bulk, to check your dimensions. I was just so excited about the price. So check your dimensions, not that you can't figure something else out to do with it. There's no mistakes in art. You can always come up with something. But I did end up going to Michael's. This one cost me about $4.99. The locker mirror was about $2.99. I got a frame for $1.99. It's not that expensive. It's just sometimes annoying to find online. So you have to do a little bit of digging.
And her daughter.
So you should have, for this project, you should have whatever you're using, whatever surface area you're using, you should have at least 1 or 2 magazines and scissors and a paintbrush and Mod Podge, and that optional aspect, which is whether or not any of your kids or any of you want to paint on any of your surface. How many of you have anything pre-cut? Not that we put it in the instructions, but does anybody have anything pre-cut? Okay, so I would say if we can give at least 5 minutes and put some music on, and we can have a little bit of a chat, and everybody could spend a little bit of time just cutting out a few things from a magazine that they might want to put onto their surface.
And I'll also make that suggestion too, to back up what Deanna is saying, is if you're not doing the project with us at the moment, maybe think of that mantra or that saying that your go-to saying, and think about that, because that will tie into when you do your project.
And it's really, if you have it, put it in the chat, right? Because I think we all learn from each other and grow from each other, and I think our kids do, and peer-to-peer is really important, and for us to confirm that for the kids and let them confirm it for themselves is really great. It's nice to see what everybody feels about themselves. Sometimes it becomes an inside joke. Sometimes people want to share it. So I think that would be great if you have a favorite something to add. Little quotes of inspiration are always good.
Do we Mod Podge it onto the mirror? You're muted.
So you can,
Oh, I'm
what's
muted.
that?
No, I'm not muted. Oh. All right, so I have my mirror and I have my little sticky thing.
Oh, good.
So do I Mod Podge it onto the mirror?
So Millie, let me see your mirror. Does it have a little frame? Do you have the locker mirror?
Yes, I bought a locker mirror.
Yeah. So again, when this showed up and it was so thin around the edges, I had to take some of the things that I cut out. I had to cut them a little bit more so they fit on. I even went across my mirror a little bit, so you can go as far as you want. Again, this is your expression and your creativity, and this is artist choice. But you can go around the frame, you can go across your mirror, however you want it to go. I will tell you that when you're Mod Podging, if you haven't spent time Mod Podging before, I'm sure many of you have, being camp professionals. But a lot of people don't know this, that when you take, I've lost my Mod Podge. I've been relocated by my family, by the way, into a much smaller room than I was originally in. But when you take your Mod Podge, you have to use it like a glue and glue it onto the box. And then each time you put something on, when you're doing a layered collage like this, you need to take the Mod Podge and go directly over what you just glued on. Otherwise, it's going to bubble. Otherwise, it's going to, edges will stick up. And we also want that nice thick coating and that nice thick luster that the Mod Podge can bring. Again, if you're using glue and water, it will not be as shiny. It'll be a little bit more matte. It might even blur the image of what you're doing, but the glue and water still work.
Okay, so put us on mute so everybody doesn't hear
Right.
us.
We're going mute. I bought a co-person to help me with this, a crafter that lives in my building. This is Denise, everybody, by the way.
So just by a raise of hands, and it looks like a lot of you are working. How many of you have some words cut out? Hands raised. Millie's very prepared. And how many of you are just spending a little bit of time cutting? Great. The other thing that I wanted to tell you was that photos can be used as well. So if you have any family photos or camp photos or best friend photos, you can cut those and you can add those into your collage as well. And those come out really, really, really nice. The variety of not just using words, but pictures from your magazines will always be really helpful. Matt, you have to keep this going for 2 seconds because I was kicked out of the room I was in. The Mod Podge is still in the other room.
No problem. I did put the link to the Drive or Google document where you can load your the folder that you can load your arts and crafts in. Right now, just as a starter, I put our supply list from tonight in there. But Deanna and I will load a bunch of our art projects in there for you. I also did see a couple of quotes that people wrote, which is fantastic. And I do love that spot. Something to ponder, think of a movie to watch, but instead of the normal actors, you can only keep one as a person and the rest are replaced with Muppets. I love that idea. And I think it would be very engaging to get the kids to talk about what their favorite movie is and then have them think about, what if we replaced, you know, my favorite movie is Star Wars, but let's say that we replaced Luke Skywalker with Kermit the Frog. And I think it would be really funny. Or Darth Vader, and then somebody has to say, Luke, I am your father in a Kermit the Frog voice.
So these are the types of projects that, you know, there's a lot of quiet time and dead space. So as Matt was saying, it's the best thing to be sparked by anything that's in that chat and be able to bring up that conversation and ask the kids what playlists that they want to hear, what their favorite songs are. I'm telling you, like, whether or not we've done it virtually or we've done this in person, the kids absolutely love it. You can even use cardboard. Like, we don't even have to spend a lot of money. We've done it on cardboard. You can cut the cardboard into shapes. It could be the letter of their name. It could be room decor. I mean, you can reformat this however you want. Really, the most important part of this is that these kids are looking and searching to find positive things about themselves and sharing it with the people that they're with, and then being able to be proud of that and take it home. And so it's a win-win for everyone. And it's also something with our younger kids, it might be fun to cut things out for them and let them pick and choose what they want. But for the older kids, this tends to have a little bit more longevity and in the project. So it could be something that you can always go back to, or something that they don't even need to be with you to do on their own. And it could be really, really inspiring for them. Some people get I mean, we've gotten composition books for 99 cents, and we've done the fronts of the books, and then they have their own journals that they could write in, their own, you know, reflective journals. So you can really steer it towards whatever you're doing, either in another part of camp.
Right, or day camp.
I would be surprised if anybody finished this while we were on this call.
This is just, it's a great sampling for y'all to you know, get those creative juices flowing, not just for yourselves, but also for your campers and what, you know, what comes next. But feel free to keep doing it. You know, once this session ends, just keep on going. You know,
and send pictures in. Send pictures in.
Please do. You can email them to Jennifer, and you know, we'll obviously get to see them. Or feel free to post them in our shared drive too. That'll be fine. That'll be awesome, because we want to see what your projects are.
Thank you so much, because as Matt knows, I have about a dozen extra yearbooks from camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought the bigger box, not thinking, what do I know? That's going to be my project. I'm going to cut out these pictures from camp of Matt and me and whoever. And I'm going to do that on this box. So great idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And by the way, when I was like arguing with my 14-year-old that she didn't know what she was doing, and she was taking the lazy way out, and she slathered the Mod Podge all over the inside of the box and just started sticking things, and it started to buckle, and she didn't believe me until she saw it. It's not that it won't work, but in a very gentle way, explain the technique. So I'm doing one at a time, and then I'm Mod Podging over each one. It helps the new pieces to stick. You can encourage the kids to think out of the box and not to always have to stay in the lines. Matt said it before, messy art is amazing, and messy can take on so many different forms and definitions. And messy can be layering things on top or doing something that is not typical looking, or not completely symmetrical or unconventional at times. Not only that, but even getting more creative with it, they might want to take something like their name and cut different letters out of different fonts, or create a self-portrait, depending on how far you want to go, with different eyes and different, facial features that they're seeing in different pictures in the magazines. So there's a lot of different variations depending on who your presenter is, who your kids are, whether or not they're enjoying what you're doing. But there's a lot of things, great things that can come out of this.
Hey Dee, I've got a quick question for you. Sorry, I'm helping my sister move as I'm watching and loving all the art activities.
Hi, Sammy.
Hi. That's
Hi.
why the camera is off. How long would you say that this activity would take if you were to do it in person? Like if you had to say you should allot 45 minutes. It's not a one and done activity, just getting a feel for what it takes to really complete it.
Sure. If you're doing it with the younger ones, again, I'm going to recommend that you have everything pre-cut. You have everything out for them, because it'll be, you have to think about the fine motor skills and the reading abilities and the things like that. And you could still have magazines out there if you want them to cut themselves. It depends on how much time you have. If you want this to be a 2-day project, then certainly the littler ones can cut themselves. But I would say if you really want to get the girth and the best out of this, really it's in the process, not just in the product. And I would say this could be a couple of days depending on what you're giving the kids. So when I did it with the kids, with our teens on a tile, which was a little bit bigger than the one that we just did with Matt, it was a solid hour and a half. It was a solid hour to hour and a half, but there was so much conversation going on and so much joking around going on, which is really the most amazing thing that happens. It's that social time. It's that openness, that camaraderie, that kinship that the kids have while they're relaxed and being creative. So if you're able to give the kids that time to do it, and let's say your periods are only 35 minutes, maybe you can give a double period for this and make it an elective. Because if you really want to get the best out of this, I would give them a little bit more time. This isn't something that you should rush.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was muted, but I said awesome.
I love, Millie, that you're doing something, you're recycling pictures from camp, right? Because now whatever you're going to use that for, your paper clips or maybe new pictures it can hold, or maybe it becomes a gratitude box and you steer the kids and you say, take this amazing camp box that we made from all these recycled photos and put your quote, your inspirational quote on the inside, and each week, whatever you put into this box, each week, add another positive note in there for yourself. So maybe by the end of your camp season, you can go back in to that box and then you can have another share and you can read what all those positive things that you put in the box, or maybe it becomes a compliment box. And every day they have to put another compliment for a friend or a staff member, something you could do around the campfire during a social time. You could really extend this program to like be huge, or you can keep it just as collaging on a tile or on a box.
We could do that virtual as well, because we could ask the kids in the chat, then we could print them out ourselves and put them in, and at the end of the week, we can have people reading it, Matthew.
You know what's even great virtually? If you could even take like a screenshot of what's going on the screen, and then you can email that to the kids so that they could then take what they're doing while they're doing it and print it out and put it onto their collage. Keeping the moment in what they're doing. I mean, there's so many different ways to do that.
It's a great idea. I'm not sure how many of our kids have access to printing off the computer, but it is a great idea.
Well, that's a challenge too. Or maybe you can mail it.
Though that we would do.
Or you switch it up. Like, if you're doing a virtual camp, you do it where it's really more of their personal self-reflection piece. And then if you're doing it in person, then you maybe be able to make it, a stronger connection to your physical camp, because then maybe you'll be able to provide more, pictures, or, you could go back in years You know, we used to do, right, Mel, where, you know, if we had a camper who was graduating, we went back through our old pictures and would make them something out of the pictures that we've taken for the last couple of years that they attended camp. You know, you can make that into maybe a senior project or a graduation project where you provide those pictures to those campers and have them do a self-reflection box, because that's something maybe they can take with them after camp and use it, whether they're going into the workforce or they're going to away to school or the military. They have that piece to hold on to that still connects them to camp, but gives them a little bit more purpose, a little bit more meaning to, you know, where they've come from. So it's another opportunity to kind of extend past camp.
You also never know who you're going to inspire. I remember one summer, this is while I was the art director, and no matter how hard I worked and no matter how many lesson plans I wrote, those 13-year-old boys just hated everything I was doing. And so when I met with them and said, I'm not offended, I was crying on the inside, but I said, I'm not offended. Just tell me what you want. And they didn't know what they wanted. So I was like, all right, I'm going to figure this out. While I figure this out, just go collect some sticks and here's some yarn and here's how to make a God's eye. They made, each of them made 30 of them for the rest of the summer. They loved it so much. And you just never know what somebody's going to love and be inspired by. When I was a teenager and I discovered this collaging, I actually did my entire bedroom door. And it took me months and months and months to do, but I had quieter times, as every teenager does, where I didn't want to talk to anyone, I didn't want to be bothered, but I was very happy collaging on my door. And so this can be a great source of inspiration, and to give something really constructive that's off the screen, that the kids can do, and it will, you know, spark some thinking and creativity. And so you just never know who's really going to get into it. And then you're always going to have those kids that are like, this is stupid, I hate it. Don't make me do this ever again. Right? And that's when the chat comes in. And then you're like, well, if you don't like this, why don't you make a playlist, right? Well, we're doing this, and tell us what you want to put on the playlist, because those kids still might show up, or those kids still have to go to your art center or your art shack or your art cabin. And we need to be able to give them something to do and some variety.
What's a God's eye?
Oh,
I've never heard of it.
oh, I don't have a sample of that here. All those 13-year-old boys took them. They took them home with them. You should look it up. It is one of the easiest things to make, and they come out absolutely beautiful. You can make them with popsicle sticks. I loved having the kids collect twigs from camp because they had to go hunting and they had to go searching, and it was like a variety in one activity. And we made giant ones, and it's kind of like you learn how to weave the yarn in a diamond through two sticks that are put together in like a plus sign or a cross. And they're gorgeous. I mean, you can make 10 of them and then make a mobile of the 10 God's eyes, or you can make one, but it's very simple. And almost all ages can do it. I wouldn't go below the age of 6, but really simple to do and very cheap. Very, very cheap.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, there you go. That's a God's eye.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Marty loves them.
Thank you.
We'll do that next time.
Good idea. We love that. We've done that at our camp too a few times, and the kids do love it. You're right. And
They love it.
It's like the ones that you aren't really expecting to love it, they love it.
13-year-old boys.
The best thing about art, it's always a surprise. That's the best. So again, please, if you're working on your projects, please share your pictures with us later of your finished products. We would love to see them and love to see what you've done with them, and especially if you do them with your campers or your family, whatever, float your boat on a Saturday night. Send us those pictures too, because we definitely love to see them. So I do want to do a quick demo of our third craft, if I could, because I know we're having such a good time. Deanna and I can do crafts all night.
All night. We're staying on when you guys are gone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Staying right here.
If anyone's my Facebook friend, I already posted pictures last night because that's what I was doing. I was making samples and having a great time, and it's just what we do. Yeah, we could totally, Aaron, we could totally do a monthly craft night. I'm all for it. All for it. So the last craft that we are going to demo is a bandana wreath. These are also honestly super easy to do. And you know me already. I'm going to say it's easy and it's inexpensive, because that's really my key on inexpensive, because I budget well. But though when I do buy, I kind of have a tendency of going overboard. So in preparation for this session, I hit a bunch of stores and kind of stocked up on every kind of bandana humanly possible, because I figured I could really have some fun with this. So I did put in your list, red, white, and blue. And I will show you the sample that I made. But then I'll also give you a couple of other options of things that you can do and ways that you can also connect this to possible themes. And also, if you're doing some family camps, this might be a really great project for the family to do, because it's something really that they're taking home and can easily hang on their front door if they want. So this is my patriotic wreath. I'll just stick my face through the front. So this is completely bandanas. Like I told you, it is just bandanas, and I'll show you how we make this, okay? Get a little closer so you can know that it's a bandana. Super easy on that. Other, variants that you can do. I made this one just because I had yellow and brown. I made a sunflower wreath, and it has a stem. Again, all bandanas. You can do, I made a Halloween one. It's packed away with, unfortunately, it's packed away with my Halloween stuff, where I did orange, purple, and black, and I put little pumpkins on it or skulls. The best part about this with the bandanas, because they're inexpensive, they also come in so many different styles. So, besides just your solid colors, you could get the skull and crossbones if you're doing Halloween. There's tons of different types of tie-dye bandanas and patriotic bandanas. I told you I went a little nuts at Walmart yesterday and the day before. But again, Walmart, they're $1. Amazon, you can get a dozen for $12, so $1 each again. So the good part is the bandanas also go a long way. So we will do a sample so I can let you all know how you go about making your wreath. So I can actually turn this bad boy back on. So it'll also depend, your wreath will also depend on the size of your, or how many bandanas you use will also depend on the size of your wire wreath that you purchase. Again, I got this one at the dollar store. So they do sell them at Walmart, Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. But you don't really want giant ones unless you're doing it for yourself. If you're doing it for yourself, then get whatever size you want. But if you're doing this with the kids or families, I suggest the smaller one. This is the smaller of the ones that they sell. They have monstrous ones, but they have even smaller ones than this. So you have your bandana, and the thing with these, this wreath, is you're not using your whole bandana. You're actually gonna cut your bandana in half. Okay, straight down the middle.
Where are your halves?
Okay. So if you're ready to start, you can actually, I have a couple pre-cut, because that's the way we do it. But you're gonna just cut your bandana in half. And luckily, look, I have a red one ready to go. It's like a cooking shell. When you take it out of the oven, it's already there. So we're only going to work with halves. So the best part is, each bandana, which is like $1, you get 2 pieces out of. With the sunflower, the brown for the center is actually in quarters. So depending, again, the size of your wreath, your wire wreath, you can really judge how much of the bandana you're going to utilize. So because I did the 2 colors inside outside, those brown pieces, they're only a quarter of the bandana. So you're actually going to get more out of that than you would. If you're doing this with the kids, I have to thank Brenda from Case Camp who showed me how to do this last year. We sent these in their camp in a box and we pre-cut all of them for the kids though. So this way that's not something that they had to do. If you're running a family camp, with parents or grandparents, whomever adults are there, they can cut, with the scissors. Don't worry about the fray. I actually think the fray kind of adds to your wreath, but it's totally up to you. If you don't like the fray, maybe use a pair of fabric scissors or the ones that have like, the crinkle cuts so that it seals it in. If not, I just used a rotary tool and just, or use the scissors and same thing.
Hey, Matt, how many kids did you send Camp in a Box to for this project?
For this project was through Case Camp. We send 35 boxes out.
Okay, and how long did that take you to cut all of those bandanas?
Oh, it took a group of people for a very long time.
Yeah. So you need to really prepare in advance for that.
If this is a project that you want to work on this summer, I suggest you kind of start getting your stuff together now. But again, it's not that bad to cut them. They cut pretty easily. We used a rotary tool, so it made it a lot easier. But regular scissors will work fine as long as they're sharp. If you're doing do this in person, don't worry about cutting it. Let the adults cut it. This way saves your time. And it also will build in your arts and crafts time anyway, because you're having that conversation while they're cutting, you're having the music playing, you're making that, that conversation and that building that community. So
I ripped Matt.
You can rip them too. Absolutely. You can have fun with it. It's not a set science.
No, but I mean, you don't have to cut them. You don't have to use a scissor. You could just snip it, and then it comes right down.
That's the best part. The bandanas always come when you buy them. They're always folded anyway, so you have that nice crease in there that you could use. So I just want to show you how we do this piece, and of course, I'll put it in the Google document later as well. So my thing is, so you have your half. Just crinkle it up. What I like to do is I then make it where my 2 ends are together. Okay, I have my fold and I have my 2 ends. All right, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it underneath, and I just bring my 2 ends through the loop and pull it nice. You can do it either pull it nice and tight. If you want it spread out more, that's okay too. It's totally up to you. I usually go nice and tight because I like it when it looks fuller, and just pull it up tight. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep alternating. If I'm doing, say, the red, white, and blue as our sample, I'm just going to alternate between my red and my blue, or excuse me, my red and my white.
I think that's what you did, right? Yeah.
Through. Okay, it's going under. The 2 open ends are going under. And then I just wrap it through. And then up and pull the pieces through. Again, you can pull it as tight as you want. If you want it looser, you can just open them up, or you can pull them tight through the top and squeeze them together. And then you're just going to keep going around until you fill up a good portion of your wreath. Now, I used for my sample wreath, I used 7 red and 7 white. But again, depending on the size of your wreath and how full you want it, you can go more or you can go less. It's totally up to you how you would like to do it. Obviously, if you're sending this to your kids, you have to pre-plan that. That's up to you. You decide how many pieces. Of course, if it's an odd number, you could send them the whole bandana anyway. That's up to you, but you decide how full it's going to be, because you have to set up those pieces for the kids. All right. So once you have all your red and white, however full you want, you can go right to your blue as well. It's the same fold, okay? The same fold as the red and white. There's nothing special to it. Okay, open ends in the center. And then I'm just gonna pull them through the top and pull nice and tight. And I can squish my pieces together. And I can keep going. You can get creative. We had kids last year that didn't want to do red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, and then the section of blue. They actually did it just like this and then just kept on going. Red, white, blue, red, white, blue. And that was their wreath, and that was fine. And so again, whatever they wanted to do is fine by us. If they wanted to do 2 red, 2 white, 1 blue, it's fine. Whatever they, you know, whatever their heart desires, that's what they could do. If you're going to, I'll demonstrate the other one too for you, just because a lot of people online really like the sunflower one, so I'll fill you in on how to do that one. But that's honestly the entire project. You're having conversations with them, you're talking with everybody, you're filling in the rest of the space. What we did also on the wreath, the red, white, and blue wreath, we purchased foam stickers. They're just foam stars. They're already sticky because I have glue. I like the pre-sticky. And all we did was we just pushed it on. And again, the kids, if the kids don't want it just on the blue section, they want to put it on the red section, they want to put it on the white, that's fine. It's totally up to them. It's their project. You know, let them have some fun with it.
That one I think has to be fixed.
You know, if you don't like the foam and you want to add an extra touch or you want to extend the project, they can also, you can get these little wooden stars. If you want, they can paint on it. They can write a message on it and glue these on to their wreath. Especially if you're not doing, say, a patriotic wreath, but you're going to do something more theme-based or something more abstract, or just maybe your camp colors as a wreath, you might want to supply little wooden objects like that so that the kids could write messages on it and glue that onto their wreath. Whether it's camp related or related to their family or their experience, you know, you can have some fun with it. You can get those little bees for the sunflower, or a lot of places will sell like ladybugs and butterflies. They come pre-painted or they just come solid wood, and you can have fun with it and let the kids do their thing. So I just want to show, because there was a lot of good responses to my sunflower last night online. So I just kind of want to give you the heads up on how to do the sunflower one. I don't have a yellow one cut, but that's okay because everything looks yellow under my light anyway. So I'm just going to pretend this white one is yellow. It works, right? So if you're going to do the sunflower, or if you're going to do any of them that have an inner color to it, like the sunflower has the brown on the inside with the yellow on the out, I just wanted to show you how I did that. So the wreath, most wire wreaths that you purchase have 4 sections to them. So all it is if you use your yellow for the outside or whatever kind of flower you're making, you're going to do basically the same thing, but you're only going to wrap it around 3 of the bars. Okay, and the same fold and pull it up. All right, and then with whatever color you want for the inside, that's going to be a 1/4 piece. Okay, because there's not as much room, so you don't need a bigger piece of bandana, because it's also then going to move. And if it's too large of a piece, it's not going to lay right for you. So if you do just a 1/4 piece, a 1/4 piece works, and it's exactly the same thing. You fold it a piece and you have both your fold, open ends, and you're going to do the same thing, but instead of the 2 open pieces going inside, do the open pieces going out. And you're just going to wrap under the 1 remaining piece of your wreath, but it's the same fold that you've done all along, and you're going to pull it through and then pull it nice and tight. And then that creates your inside and outside of your flower. So this way it also will fill in some of the hole, for you. Now, depending on what you're making, if it's theme related, maybe you want to put something underneath the wreath. Maybe it's a sign with a nice saying. Maybe because there's a lot of, actually, maybe that's what I'll look up. There's a lot of sayings or mantras, like Deanna was mentioning, that have to do with sunflowers and flowers. Maybe I'll put that on a piece of canvas in the center of my flower as a way of continuing that wreath. You know, have some fun with it. Let your creativity soar, and enjoy it. I think that's the best part of arts and crafts, is you're doing it to, yes, you're doing it to make something and have a tangible piece of something to go home with. But I think it's so much more than that. And as Deanna and I were talking and planning this project, all we kept saying is, you know, there's so much more than just arts and crafts to arts and crafts. The conversations that we've had with the kids during this structured, unstructured time have probably been the best conversations that we've ever had with kids. Because it's an opportunity for the kids to be self-expressive, but it's an opportunity for the kids to just kind of relax a little bit and open up and share of themselves. Because when you're doing arts and crafts, and you all know this, right? I'm preaching to the choir in a sense. You know, when you're doing arts and crafts, you kind of let yourself go because it's such a relaxing time. And for our campers, this is an opportunity they need. They need a time where they can relax and not think about things and not, you know, worry about that this project has to be so specific and it's so perfect. They have an opportunity to be a little bit more expressive and really enjoy what they're doing. So, you know, we hope y'all have enjoyed what you're doing too tonight.
It also leads us to such inspiration. Like while I'm watching Matt do this, we're thinking about wreaths and sunflowers, and all I'm thinking about is some of us have holiday programs, and like you can take a wreath and you can make a turkey out of the wreath. Like you could just like I was looking at it as if it was like turkey feathers. So, and not that I'm trying to just give you an idea for a project, but I was just inspired by what he was doing, right? I saw it in a completely different way. And we don't just learn from each other. The kids will have a different way of seeing it, and we can learn from them, and we can get our inspiration from their perspective and how they're seeing what they're doing. So it's just a great space to be in. It's fun. This has been fun.
Does anybody have any questions or anything else you'd like to share with the group? Share with the class, perhaps? That's all right. Deanna and I really appreciate everyone joining us tonight. We hope that y'all take something away that you'll either do with your families or your staff or your campers. We just hope that you had a great time and enjoyed it. And I do want to give a quick shout out, and I'm going to do it because I'm going to embarrass her. But everyone say hi to Marigold. She's here. And those who don't know, Marigold, when I first started going to COCA way back when Millie brought me to my first COCA in El Paso, I met Marigold.
Is that our Marigold?
That is our Marigold. She is on, people.
Marigold.
Here, legit. So I just have to call her out because she is just the awesomest, and I miss her so much. So.
Ditto, I miss you too.
Thank you so much. I miss all of you guys.
Is that our Marigold?
That's how we always refer to it. It's our Marigold.
Well, when I first went to COCA in New Jersey, and that's where I met you and Millie.
Well, Jennifer
and
was there too, right?
My life has never been the same.
Yeah, Jen was there.
Most people, you know, New Jersey has that effect on most people.
Yes.
You know, when they come to New Jersey, you know, their lives are never the same.
How cool.
But I love you all so much, and I just miss you so much. It's so great to get back on here.
Good.
Thank you.
And I will tell Neil that I saw you. I talk to Neil all the time.
Neil came out on the train, and we went to dinner. It was awesome.
Yes.
My COCA babies.
Yes.
My COCA babies.
Oh, yeah.
Best people in the world are COCA people.
For sure.
That's true.
That's for sure.
But thank you again, everybody, so much. This will be up. Jennifer and Don will have this up for folks that can take a peek. So in case they want to catch up with, the crafts that we made, feel free to reach out to Deanna and I. We'd be more than happy to, offer any more suggestions, or if you need a little reminder, we would love to do that as well. So we want to be a resource for you as well. And we hope that y'all will join us for more COCA sessions. There's a lot more coming up in the month of March and the month of April. There's a lot. So please feel free. Make sure you share with your other staff members that might be interested, or board members, depending on the topic, they want to jump in on that. So thank you all so much. Look at that. Millie, you're coming along. Well, you got your
Great job, Millie.
and please send us pictures too.
Thank you, Matt and
Good to
Deanna
see
and
you
everybody
guys.
for joining us tonight. That was fun. Learned a lot.
I'll
Thank
talk
you
to
all
you
so much.
tomorrow, Dad, or something.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Happy to be
guys.
here.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Good job.